Have you ever been somewhere that feels wrong? A hallway that stretches too long, a staircase that leads nowhere. Architects call these liminal spaces transition zones, but in the world of the paranormal, they're more than architectural quirks. They're glitches in reality. My name is Leo. I used to believe in logic. I used to believe that if you walk down a hallway, you eventually reach a wall. That was before I checked into the Grandview Hotel, before I took the elevator to the floor that shouldn't exist. If you're listening, pay attention to the exits. Sometimes the door you came in through isn't there anymore. Welcome back to the archive of fear. The rain hammered the mountain pass in sheets, turning headlights into feeble swords cutting through the mist. Up ahead, a flickering neon sign, the Grandview Hotel, a relic from the 1970s brown brick. Golden window frames, a heavy, tired elegance. I pulled into the empty lot, grabbed my duffel, and ran to the lobby. The air smelled of old tobacco and lemon wax. The carpet was dizzying, a tangled pattern of orange and brown hexagons. Behind the desk, a pale, skeletal man didn't even look up. "One night, just for the storm," I said, sliding my card across the counter. He handed me a heavy brass key. The small plastic tag read 1308. 13th floor, he whispered, voice dry as parchment. "Elevators to your left. Don't mind the hum, it's an old building." I stepped into the elevator. The brass doors groaned shut. I pressed 13. The lift began its climb, lights flickering, low hum vibrating through my teeth. 10, 11, 12, 13. The bell chimed a hollow, mournful sound. The doors opened onto a hallway bathed in jaundiced yellow light. The wallpaper wilted roses, repeating endlessly. The air smelled of damp wool. My footsteps muffled by thick carpet. I walked toward room 1308. Key turned, lock clicked. Standard room, queen bed, small TV, window to the storm. I dropped my bag, throat dry. No ice machine, no vending station. I stepped back into the hallway, leaving my door slightly propped. I walked toward the elevator. The hallway stretched. Longer, the door to 1308 shrank in the distance. Yellow lights buzzed, syncing with my pulse. A corner turned, and there was another identical hallway. Same wallpaper, same carpet, same buzzing light. I turned back, my door was gone. Only a wall of wilted roses. Panic stabbed me. I began to run. "Hello." My voice vanished into the carpet and wallpaper. I checked doors. 1301, 1302, 1303. Numbers correct, but when I reached 1308, the door was locked. No keyhole, just a flat piece of brass. I moved forward, 1309, 1310. Numbers climbed, 1350, 1399, 1400, yet the hallway never ended. The buzzing became a high-pitched scream in my skull. I turned corners, searching for stairs or lobby. The hotel folded in on itself like origami. I stopped at an alcove. An ice machine stood, viriled, rusted, vibrating. I approached. Inside the dispenser, not ice. Thousands of small white objects clinked against metal human teeth. I stumbled back. The smell of wet wool curdled into the stench of rotting meat. The carpet's orange patterns writhed, shifting like a nest of snakes. Then the lights died. Absolute blackness, physical in its weight. From the far end, squelch, drag, squelch, drag. Something was moving, heavy, unsteady. I fumbled for my phone. My hands shook so violently I almost dropped it, and I knew I wasn't alone. I stumbled backward, tripping over the edge of the bed. The room didn't feel solid anymore. The floor rippled like liquid. The red neon from the window reflected off the walls, making the wallpaper mouths twitch and open wider. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The woman raised her arms. The yellow wallpaper seemed to crawl up her limbs, merging with her skin. She tilted her head unnaturally, the motion scraping against physics itself, and whispered in a voice like wet cloth, "You should not be here." I scrambled toward the door, but it had vanished. The lock, the handle, even the frame dissolved into more of the living carpet. My heart pounded. The air smelled of rust and rot. The ceiling above me rippled with movement. I knew if I looked up, I'd see it. I didn't dare. A sound, thousands of tiny feet skittering. A chorus of scratches seekoed from every direction. The red neon pulsed faster. The woman took a step forward, and with it, the room stretched. The walls extended, the bed elongated into an impossible corridor behind me. I was moving, but the room was moving faster. The infinite hotel was folding in on itself. Then I heard it, a chorus of whispers from the yellow mouths. They spoke in a language I knew. My own thoughts mirrored back to me. Wrong turn, wrong turn, wrong turn, wrong turn. I turned, and the bathroom door reappeared. The woman was gone. The shower curtain fluttered, as if caught in a breeze, but the window still showed the endless void of floating yellow-lit rooms. And from somewhere deep in the darkness, the skittering grew louder. Closer, hundreds of insectal limbs tapping along the ceiling above me, hunting. I knew then that the 13th floor wasn't a floor, it was a trap. A living construct that adapted to my fear, folding space, warping time, reshaping reality to trap me forever. And I realized with a sinking, icy certainty, the Grandview didn't want me to leave. I reached the edge of the elevator well, and the brass key hovered just out of reach, glowing faintly as if it remembered me. The manager loomed above, his limbs folding in impossible angles, his grey fingers scraping along the pulsing walls like a spider over silk. "You cannot leave," he whispered, each word vibrating through the fibers of my being. "You belong here." "You cannot leave," he whispered, each word vibrating through the fibers of my being. "You belong here." I pulled myself forward with everything I had. The hairs in the sub-basement twisted, curling into shapes that tried to trap me. Every thread pulled at my mind, dragging me back into the wallpaper. My vision fractured. I saw hundreds of Leos crawling in the walls, trapped in rooms labeled with dates I didn't recognize. They all stared at me with hollow eyes, mouths stitched shut. The key flared brighter. I lunged again, fingertips grazing the cold brass. Sparks leaped from the typewriter. The register groaned, metal stretching as the paper tore and wound itself into the void above. The entire 13th floor shuddered, and the elevator cable or whatever held this impossible shaft together vibrated violently. Then the manager screamed, not a human scream. It was a chorus of all the floors, hundreds of years of guests crying out in unison. The rose mouths along the walls stretched and twisted like living vines, trying to pull me into the sub-basement's black hair. But the key pulsed with a stubborn light, and I clutched it tight. With a surge of will, I threw the key at the elevator. It struck the floor with a ringing clang. The elevator doors flew open with a metallic shriek. I dived inside just as the floor beneath me twisted and buckled, the sub-basement trying to fold over itself like a collapsing accordion. The elevator descended door, perhaps it rose, I couldn't tell. The air turned thick, smelling of wet iron and static. The yellow glow of the 13th floor flickered in the shaft like dying embers. The manager's presence followed me, massive and intangible, his whispers clawing at my mind. Then the key pulsed in my pocket. A faint vibration ran through my body. I realized something. The key wasn't just a key. It was a pattern, a sequence. A break in the building's code. The elevator stopped. The doors creaked open. Outside was neither floor nor wall, neither lobby nor hallway. It was a void of endless grey light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. The key in my hand began to hum in resonance with the space itself. I stepped forward. The carpet, the wallpaper, the mouths, the hair, they all recoiled from the light. For the first time since the 13th floor claimed me, I felt like I was moving toward escape, not being swallowed. But a voice, low and omnipresent, vibrated through the void. You cannot leave. You were never outside the Grandview. I tightened my grip on the brass key. And then, with a single, trembling motion, I turned it. The void shattered. The 13th floor screamed in peeling, tearing walls, a sound of paper ripping and fluorescent lights frying, a wave of motion, memory, dread, and all the trapped guests shot past me and into nothingness. I fell through the gap, weightless, spinning, and I landed. The floor was solid beneath my boots. The air smelled of wet stone, cold but breathable. The lobby of the Grandview was gone. Outside, through the windows, I saw mountains, rain, and the ordinary world, unchanged, oblivious. I had escaped the 13th floor, but in my pocket, the brass key pulsed faintly. A reminder, a heartbeat, a promise. Because somewhere, deep in the shadows of that hotel, the 13th floor still waited, and it remembered. I reached the 13th floor just as the lights flickered back to their sickly yellow. The new Leo stood frozen in front of the ice machine, staring at the pile of teeth, seconds from running into the curving carpet tunnel. I tried to shout, but I had no mouth. I reached out a shadow hand and grabbed his ankle. He screamed, staring down at the stain on the floor that was me. Please. I vibrated through the static. The ice, the teeth. It's a distraction. Look for the fire axe. He kicked, passing his boot through my shadow form. Get away, he sobbed. He couldn't understand. He couldn't see. The manager appeared at the end of the hall, his faceless head tilted, grey fingers twitching, ready to repair the glitch I had become. The hallway stretched again. New rose mouths sprouted along the walls, angrier, sharper. I looked at the new Leo one last time. To save him, to save USI, had to destroy the hotel from the inside. I dove into the orange carpet, sinking toward the hair mesh foundation, searching for the one thing a building made of fear could not withstand. Truth. I plunged into the wet, matted wall of human hair, the hotel's true skeleton. The stench was unbearable, a concentrated perfume of 1,000 years of unwashed fear. I was no longer a shadow. I was a virus. Crawling through the mesh, I found the node's stolen hearts encased in yellow wallpaper, pulsing like slow, rhythmic drums. At the center, the original node, the first guest from 1924, massive, black with rot, armored in brass keys. The manager screamed behind me. No mouth, just a psychic blast that shattered my mind like glass. Stop, glitch. You are decor. You are nothing. The hair mesh tightened around my neck, trying to pull me back into the insulation. I forced every ounce of memory, the grief for my mother, the freezing mountain storm, the helpless fur into my touch. The node recoiled. Human emotion burned through the Grandview's static core. The black hearts smoked. The brass keys melted into liquid gold. Above, the 13th floor dissolved. The new Leo was trapped in the curving tunnel, but the walls became transparent, revealing black void. The manager's grey suit unraveled into loose threads. The ice machine exploded. Teeth flew like shrapnel. The loop was breaking. The archive was being deleted. If you destroy us, Leo, you destroy yourself. The manager's final scream echoed. I didn't care. I squeezed the rotting heart until it erupted in black oil and white light. Shockwaves ripped through the Grandview. Hallways folded in on themselves. Elevator shafts snapped. The infinite grid of windows shattered like a billion diamonds breaking at once. I fell not through a building, but through time. I saw the new Leo's face, screaming as the floor vanished. I reached out, pushing him with every ounce of dread the typewriter had refined from me, launching him toward the only exit left. The original 1970 elevator. Go, don't look back. He tumbled into the car as the 13th floor collapsed into a single point of light. I remained part of the static, watching the Grandview implode into the void. The manager stared one last time before fading. Silence. No buzzing, no hissing. Peace. The elevator doors opened on the first floor. The new Leo stumbled out. Bright rain falling, fresh water, not wet wool. The skeletal receptionist was gone, replaced by a young woman with a kind smile. Sir, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. His hands were normal, no yellow tint, no grainy texture. But in his pocket, something heavy, a brass hotel key. Melted, twisted, the number 1308 barely visible. No 13th floor, there never had been. He ran into the storm, leaving his luggage behind, never looking back. He lived in a house with no hallways, sleeping in rooms with wide-open windows. But sometimes, late at night, when the lights flicker and the refrigerator hums too loud, he hears it. A faint, rhythmic squelch, drag, squelch, drag. And when he glances at the floral wallpaper, just for a second, a single rose mouth opens and breathes. The Grandview isn't gone. It's waiting for the next wrong turn.